Are we approaching the end of civilization as we know it? Do we want to be victims or champions? Hi, I'm Steve, and welcome to Awake with Steve, where I talk about some of these issues. I talk about the anxieties that keep me up at night, what bothers me and when I wake up in the middle of the night, and sometimes what do I think about when I'm trying to avoid doing what I need to do. So this will be the last of the series, and we'll go on from there. So in this episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about being a victim or being a champion and how we get to make that decision. Okay, so are we going to be victims? That is where my anxieties take me. I get to worrying about something and it's just go right down that rabbit hole and see nothing but that anxiety or what that anxiety is focused on. And things get very, very dark. And it's kind of like, why bother? We're all screwed. No matter what we do, it's not going to be enough. And a few months ago, I actually took a step back and said, what the frigid air? Well, I said something different than that. But, I have been an advocate of technology all of my life. I have worked in technology all of my working life, one way or another. I've applied it. I've utilized it. I fundamentally believe that some form of technology, of learning how to use what we have available better, will always advance our society, will also advance our levels of living, not necessarily comfortable living, but living. It will possibly lead us ultimately out into the planetary system, maybe even to other stars. Don't know. That's science fiction at this point. So, why do I get into these spaces where I don't think that that's going to work, or I don't believe that we're going to use it? I don't know. Well, that's probably just part of being human. We're more worried about the tiger that's going to eat us rather than the food that's over the hill, so to speak. So what are we going to do about it? Humanity just going to sit down, lay down, whine, keep doing what we're doing and whining about how unfair the universe is? Yeah, there's going to be a certain component of humanity that does that. It seems to be always there. On the other hand, there are always individuals who will take up the mantle of leadership and gather a group of people around them and strive to achieve goals. Goals may be good, may be bad, may be different, may be ineffective. Don't know. That is one of the benefits of having a diversity of cultures and people, in that we come up with all kinds of ideas and we go out and we test them. And that even more economically, that's the benefit of the capitalist system. Even when the governments are advocating for going off in one direction, there are little elements in the capitalist society working on something else, working to get it so that we can solve other problems than what the government is focused on. And then when the government fails and they come around looking for new solutions, there are other tools available to them now. So I have a high degree of optimism that we're going to get through these times, that we have developed all of the tools that we need, and all of the knowledge that we need to go forward, manage these issues. And if we don't have those tools and knowledge available, we know how to develop them and we know how to find them. Sounding like a sermon at this point. So just to iterate through some of the things that I see on pollution, we have companies that are just, groups of people, conservationists, whatever, who are just getting in ships and going out and picking up the plastics in the ocean, using nets to scoop them up. Seems pretty ineffectual considering how much stuff we're throwing into the oceans at the same time, but they're working on it. There are companies who are working on making plastics more recyclable maybe to the point that it gets to the point where we used to be with glass pop bottles, where you buy a bottle of pop, go out, drink it, you bring the bottle back, you get 5 cents. Maybe we'll get to the point where that's actually an economical alternative. There are, in fact, wealthy individuals, several, who are spending a lot of their money in getting electric vehicles up and going. Until a couple decades ago, now, time flies. Electric vehicles were seen as clumsy, expensive, slow, ineffective at transportation. And now we have electric vehicles which vie with the hottest sports cars out there, which are safer than any other car on the streets, and cost less. And the cost is being driven down quickly. So again, there are individuals, there's companies, there are groups of people who are out there working on solving these issues. So and I would like to create videos that focus on that. A format might be, state the problem, define it in a way that there is a potential solution, and then look at what that solution is and what people are doing to do it, to solve it. And in the process, I'll come up with some of my own ideas, some of my own opinions on what can and should be done, what might work. Don't know. We will see how that goes. I would like to touch on another aspect, just a little thing that I've done some reading on, and that there are a lot of books out there. And that is, this is just a part of the pattern that humans go through. Books like The Fourth Turning by William Strauss and Neil Howe. It's a generational thing. Every 4 generations, we go through this chaos. And they make a nice story around each generation is raised to be raised to meet a particular set of behaviors. Makes a good story. They can pull up enough facts that will justify it. But what have they left out of the story? The same thing with Changing World Order by Ray Dalio. And he looks at it from the rise and fall of empires and his experience on Wall Street and the financial world, if you will. But again, what has he left out of it? He makes a good story. It's got a really, nice charts, graphs. Makes a good story. Lots of basis and facts there. It's just what has been left out. I don't know. That's some of what we can look at. One of the things that I think about, well, there's 2 things that I think about when I'm starting to read these books now. One is, well, they have all of the confidence that this is just a cycle we'll go through and then we'll come out the other side and keep going. There's no guarantee of that happening. And for all of this examples where they pull out this pattern working in the way they talk about, they quite frequently neglect to talk about those societies, cultures, peoples, or whatever, where the pattern was there for a while and they went into a period of chaos and died. The civilization just left us. They didn't get through it. So we're given these periodicities in our behaviors, if you will, but there's no guarantee that we're going to come out the other side intact. And the feeling I get out of these books is, yeah, it's a given. We'll get through this. Don't know. Probably talking more of that in some element somewhere. But I think fundamentally, probably for the first time in history, we have all the tools and all the knowledge to manage our affairs in a way that will get us through and possibly give us better control, better tools to manage, not control so much as manage our affairs on this planet. Don't know. We'll have to see. I'll be talking about, like I say, I want to take this in a much more positive spin as to what we're doing and how we're using those tools. So with that, that brings to a close this series. And those two books I mentioned, the Changing World Order and The Fourth Turning, will be linked in the description below. They may become affiliate links at some point in time. That's another thing I'm working on. So my next video, I'm going to talk a little bit about my first week as a YouTuber. It's quite interesting. Very brief synopsis of what I think about it, actually. And then I'm going to go into, I'm not sure yet. There's so many things to take on here. I think I want to take on how human affairs have often aggravated natural occurrences that occur. And I think we can see that in today's world as well as from a historical perspective where that's happened. So, and a book that I'll be looking at there is The Third Horseman. I'll link it in the description below, but it's about Northern Europe coming off of the medieval warming period and how the difficulties that the challenges that they faced because of cooling environment were aggravated to a large degree by human impulses, how humanity making the wrong decisions or making decisions that were not in the best interest of everybody really made things much worse than what they needed to be. So with that, see ya next time.